Let me tell you, if you'd ever told me I'd wind up in a standoff with the cops over a window air conditioner, I probably would have laughed so hard I'd pull a muscle. But there I was, shirt half tucked, receipt in one hand, heart pounding in the other, standing in Patricia Garrison's yard, while two bewildered officers stared at my stolen AC unit like it had just crash landed from outer space. I mean, that was my air conditioner right there in the middle of her grass cord, still snaking out of my bedroom window like some kind of extension cord crime scene. And Patricia, well, she tried to play it off even as sweat rolled down her face with this little voice like she just got caught cheating on a pop quiz. He gifted it to me. Yeah, that happened. The younger cop, God bless him, he actually stopped and stared at the cord for a good 5 seconds, then deadpanned. Ma'am, why's the cord still coming out of his house? The silence after that? You could have bottled it and sold it as awkward tension. Let me back up a sec, because stuff like this doesn't just happen out of nowhere. Not in a place like Maple Ridge Estates. See, my name's David Brennan. 38 illustrator, professional, mind my own business type. And if there's anything I care about in this world, it's peace, quiet, and ice-cold AC. Unfortunately, I live across the street from Patricia, Queen of the HOA and part-time destroyer of joy. You ever met someone who gets high off the smell of rules? That's Patricia. She writes up citations like she's got stock in the printer ink company. Once fined my neighbor for leaving their garbage cans out 7 minutes after the truck left, had her stopwatch and everything, like she's angling for a gold medal in neighborhood nuisance. Her personal crusade, though, was window air conditioners. Every month, her newsletter railed against the ocular blight of a white box sticking out of a window like it might cause the whole block to fall into a sinkhole of bad taste. Now, I live in an old house, central air's a fantasy, and my sinuses could probably qualify for disability, so of course I need that window unit. Patricia, however, decided my AC was an act of aesthetic terrorism. I actually spit out my coffee when I got that citation, $500 for uglifying the street. I balled it up and tossed it in the recycling, because what else do you do when your HOA president is waging psychological warfare via stationery? Of course, Patricia wasn't done. She claimed my condensation would destroy her begonias, sent out a mass mail warning about HVAC instability, complete with photoshopped cartoons of children being flattened by falling air conditioners. I kid you not, one of them had the AC looking like a grand piano in an old Looney Tunes short. Then she started a petition to ban window units with signatures from Mickey Mouse, Donald Duck, and I swear, AC unit number 2. At that point, you had to laugh. It was either that or scream. So, like any reasonable adult, I went out and bought myself the best, quietest, sleekest AC I could find, clamped it to my window, and finally slept like a king. Next morning, gone. Just vanished, and in its place a floral stationery note. Consider this a community improvement. You're welcome. PG. The heat was already creeping up, and there I am standing in my boxers completely dumbfounded. Naturally, I checked the ring cam. And would you believe it, there's Patricia 2:16 a.m. in a black hoodie dragging my AC across the lawn, stopping every 10 feet to catch her breath, and then sitting on the thing like it's a park bench. So I called the police, but Patricia beat me to it, claimed I stole her air conditioner. The 911 dispatcher legit had to pause. You could hear her trying not to laugh as she read back. He broke into my home at 3:00 a.m. and took my vintage cooling apparatus. Vintage. When the cops finally showed, Patricia was out front waving a handwritten receipt at my house like she'd just bought a Picasso at a yard sale. Her proof looked like a ransom note written by a caffeinated squirrel. By this time, I'd already printed my Home Depot receipt, security footage stills, even a photo of me with the AC Today's paper in hand. Hey, I like to be prepared. The kicker. The AC was still plugged into my house cord, stretching right across the lawn into Patricia's flower bed. The senior cop finally turns to her and says, "Ma'am, did you remove this from his property?" Patricia puffs up and declares she'd performed a corrective extraction under HOA Authority Article 7, subsection 12. The younger cop, not sure if she's serious, actually Googled it. Nothing came up unless you count a WikiHow for exercising kitchen appliances. At this point, even the senior officer's patience snapped. He told her flat out, "You can't just take other people's property because you don't like how it looks." That's when Patricia really lost it. Started yelling about neighborhood standards, property values, her voice hitting notes that would wake the dead. I just smiled and said, "Probably worth less than a theft charge, wouldn't you think?" And finally, the cops had enough read her rights while she hollered about knowing the mayor, the governor, maybe even the Pope, for all I know. Let me tell you, her mugshot hair all wild and frizzy red face, poking out of those giant sunglasses framed by her favorite azaleas, should have gone on a billboard. The news picked it up before she was even booked. Headline read, "HOA president cools her jets in jail after AC heist." Social media lost its mind. Someone started a Reddit thread, "Justice served ice cold," and my neighbor Jeremy started selling t-shirts with Patricia's mugshot and "Support your local AC" on the front. Bought two myself, not gonna lie. Without Patricia, the HOA board remembered they actually had spines. Emergency meeting, secret ballot, out she went. Turns out she'd never even been properly elected, just talked herself into the job, and nobody bothered to stop her. When she finally came home, the special parking spot was gone. Her key card didn't work. And Frank, the new president regular guy, loves barbecue, sent out a memo. Window units are fine. Just keep them safe. Simple as that. But karma wasn't done with Patricia. Her day job office manager at a real estate company didn't take kindly to her newfound infamy. You don't want thief next to your name when you're selling houses, you know what I mean? Next came the civil suit. My old college buddies, a lawyer, took the case for laughs, 15 grand for theft, trespass, and emotional distress. I'll admit most of that was for the security system upgrade and the night I sweated it out at 90 degrees. The criminal trial was the real show. Prosecutor rolled the ring footage. Patricia's out there dragging my AC, stopping every so often to fan herself with her own hand, which is honestly perfect. Her lawyer tried to say she was protecting the community. The judge, barely keeping a straight face, said, "Miss Garrison being on the HOA does not come with burglar privileges." Boom, guilty on all counts. Probation 200 hours of community service installing AC units for senior citizens, which is poetic if you ask me. 5 grand and fines, full restitution. When the sentence dropped, Patricia actually sputtered. "But I was protecting the neighborhood." Judge just shook his head and said, "Only thing you protected was the heat. Maybe this summer you'll cool off." Summer. And that, my friends, was how the reign of Patricia Garrison ended. Not with a bang, but with the soft whir of a busted compressor and the sound of a neighborhood exhaling for the first time in years. Now you'd think that'd be the end of it, but around here all it takes is one clipboard and a little power for the next story to start up. So let me throw it back to you. Do you think protecting the look of a neighborhood is worth all this drama? Or did justice finally give Maple Ridge the chill it needed? Drop your take in the comments, because trust me, on this block, everyone's got an opinion, and I'll be right there reading them with my feet up and my AC blasting.